Why do so many people choose to stay safe instead of chasing their dreams? Why does the fear of risk freeze us when every big change demands stepping into the unknown? It's a feeling that tightens your chest and makes your mind race, like your heart's warning light flashing red. But what if that warning isn't a signal to stop, but a sign to move forward? In this video, you will discover the real reasons why most people avoid risks, and more importantly, why you must choose a different path. You will learn how facing fear, breaking routines, and embracing uncertainty can unlock your hidden potential. If you've ever felt stuck or afraid to take that next step, this message will give you the strength and clarity to break free. Stick with me because the life you want begins where fear ends. Ready to change your story? Let's get started. Number 1, face fear today and step into bold action. You know what holds most people back? It's not lack of talent. It's not resources. It's not even knowledge. It's fear, cold, silent fear. It's the kind of fear that doesn't always shout. It whispers. It says, don't try. You might fail. It says, stay where it's safe. And most people listen. That's the truth. Most people don't take risks because they're afraid of what could go wrong. But what they forget to ask, what if everything goes right? Fear is powerful. It speaks in your own voice. It sounds reasonable. It says, wait until you're more ready. It says, you don't want to embarrass yourself. It says, play it smart. Don't stand out. And when you listen to that voice for too long, it starts to own you. Before you know it, you've spent years waiting for the perfect moment. And that perfect moment never comes. What makes fear so dangerous is not the noise it makes, but the life it steals. It robs you of your dreams quietly. It convinces you that surviving is the same as living. It convinces you that being comfortable is the same as being happy. But I want to tell you something honest. That's not true. You cannot grow while staying comfortable. You cannot build confidence while avoiding challenge. And you cannot live fully while living safely. Every bold action you've ever thought of, that business idea, that move to a new city, that conversation you keep avoiding, they all live on the other side of fear. And you won't find out what's waiting for you until you face it. That's why you must start now. Not tomorrow. Not when the timing is right. Now, face fear today and step into bold action. It will feel uncomfortable. It's supposed to. Your body might shake. Your mind will come up with every reason not to move forward. That's natural. But here's the part most people don't know. Fear isn't a signal to stop. It's a signal that something matters. You don't feel fear when you're doing something that doesn't count. You feel fear when something's on the line. Your pride, your identity, your future. That's when you know you're close to something that could change your life. You've got to learn to use that fear as fuel. Instead of letting it freeze you, let it sharpen you. Let it remind you that you're alive, that you're doing something real. The people you admire, the entrepreneurs, the creators, the leaders, they all felt fear. The difference is they moved forward anyway. They didn't wait for fear to disappear. They walked through it. And here's the hard truth. If you don't face fear today, you'll still be facing it 10 years from now. The only difference is your window will be smaller. Your energy will be lower. Your regrets will be louder. So ask yourself right now, is it better to feel uncomfortable for a moment or empty for a lifetime? Some people think taking risks is reckless, but the real risk is doing nothing. The real risk is staying in the same job you hate. It's settling in a relationship that drains you. It's waking up each morning knowing you're capable of more and doing nothing about it. That's what's truly dangerous. A life spent running from your own potential. There is power in making a decision. When you face fear and take bold action, you create movement. That movement builds momentum, and momentum builds confidence. One bold step leads to another. Before you know it, you're stronger, not because the fear is gone, but because you stopped letting it lead your life. When you take risks, even small ones, you start to see something most people never do. That you are far more capable than you think. You realize that failure isn't the end of you. It's part of building you. You realize that mistakes don't define you. They refine you. But none of this happens unless you move. And most people, they never move. They wait, they watch, they wonder, but they never start. You have to ask yourself, are you going to be most people? Or are you going to be the person who breaks the pattern? You've got to get serious about your life. You don't get this time back. Every day you wait, the dream gets dimmer. Every day you stay still, the fear gets stronger. But every day you act, even in a small way, you chip away at the fear. Face fear today. Speak up, apply, start, say no, say yes, take that first step. It won't feel perfect, and it won't feel easy, but it will feel honest. And that honesty, that raw, real version of you, is where your power lives. There's no perfect script for this. There's no guarantee. But the one thing I can promise you is this. Bold action changes lives, yours and the people around you. When you act boldly, you show others it's possible. You remind them of what they've forgotten. And sometimes, your courage is the permission someone else needs to be brave too. So don't wait for the fear to leave. Move with it. Step into the unknown. You're going to get knocked down sometimes, but you'll also stand taller than you've ever stood. And you'll discover that your life is worth the risk. Your dreams are worth the risk. You are worth the risk. If you're tired of playing small, if you're tired of watching others live the life you want, if you're tired of wondering what could have been, then today has to be the day you stop hiding. Today has to be the day you face fear and step into bold action. Because life isn't waiting, and neither should you. Now go. Go do the thing that scares you. Go build something real. Go take that leap. Your future is not built in comfort. It's built in courage, and it starts right now. Number 2, challenge comfortable routines and ignite your hidden potential. Wake up to the truth that staying comfortable slowly shrinks who you are. Comfort often starts as a reward for work done. Yet it turns into a quiet trap when you stop noticing its grip. The same streets, the same faces, the same nightly shows. Not harmful on their own, yet together they train your mind to expect nothing new. Day after day, predictable patterns settle over your thoughts like thick dust. While the clock keeps ticking, your untapped talent waits, restless and unseen, wondering when you will give it fresh air. Think about a usual morning. You jolt awake to the same alarm tone. Reach for your phone before your eyes fully open. Scroll past the same comments from people you barely know. Sip coffee without tasting it. Step into the same commute. And by 9 o'clock, you already feel part used, part bored. Sound familiar? Those motions feel easy because they demand no courage. They also cost you the sharp edge of curiosity, the spark that reminds you that today could be different from yesterday. I meet many people who say they want change but never touch their routine. They repeat goals in workshops, write them on bright sticky notes, yet spend evenings on the same couch, telling themselves they are too tired to act. They wonder why life feels narrow. It is narrow because comfort builds walls brick by brick around every new option. Over time, those walls block sunlight you did not know you missed. Then regrets show up. Chances not taken, skills undeveloped, voices inside, growing faint. If you want a different future, you have to invite friction into the present. Small, deliberate friction wakes you up. Walk a route you have never taken and observe the colors, the smell of street food, the mix of languages. Read a book that contradicts your current view and wrestle with every page. Speak first in a meeting even when your pulse races. Each uneasy step stretches the mind, the way resistance stretches a muscle. Growth is not a mystery. It is the natural result of meeting new challenges on purpose. Let me share a real story. Mark worked 20 years in the same office, handling invoices. He told himself stability mattered most, yet every morning he felt an ache behind the ribs. The ache of unused ability. One Tuesday, he chose a new path. He asked to present a short training on budgeting, even though public speaking terrified him. His voice shook, palm sweat dripped, yet colleagues thanked him afterward for making numbers clear. That praise lit a spark he had not felt since college. One bold act led to evening courses, then a role in planning. And within 3 years, Mark directed a team. His talent was there all along. Challenging his ritual released it. Science backs this shift. Neural pathways strengthen through repetition. They also weaken when you replace them. Each time you perform a fresh task, learn a bite of another language, cook a recipe from a different culture, strike up conversation with a stranger, new connections form, and dopamine rewards you for exploration. That chemical nudge says, more of this, please. Give your brain rich input, and it rewires itself toward confidence in the unknown. Here is a practical plan. For the next 30 days, choose one daily discomfort that lasts no longer than 15 minutes. Day 1. Take a cold shower and notice how your breath quickens yet stabilizes. Day 2. Delete one app that wastes your focus. Day 3. Dine without digital screens and listen to the texture of silence. Keep a notebook and log the feeling before, during, and after each change. By the end of 30 days, you will have 30 fresh data points proving that your mind can survive and even enjoy life outside habitual ease. While you practice, speak kindly to yourself. Self-criticism kills momentum faster than any obstacle outside you. You are not chasing perfection. You are expanding possibility. Picture your hidden potential as a room filled with instruments waiting to be played. Every new action swings the door wider. Eventually, light pours in, and the sound that rises surprises you with its depth. That sound is capability meeting opportunity. The world does not reward ideas alone. It rewards ideas acted upon. Your family, friends, and even strangers benefit when you share talent that once lay dormant. A parent who breaks routine may show a child what bravery looks like up close. A manager who dares to innovate may lift an entire team. Your personal courage ripples further than you can measure. Someone who watches you push boundaries will quietly decide to push their own. That is leadership without a title. It begins the moment you challenge comfort. Today, commit aloud. I will disrupt one routine and uncover one strength. Say it so your own ears hear the promise. Then move. Stand, stretch, shut the familiar screen. Step into fresh air. Feel the temperature. Smell the city or the countryside. Notice the hum of life telling you it is ready when you are. Decide that comfort will no longer be the main director of your days. Choose growth, even when it trembles. Your hidden potential will thank you by turning skills into mastery and goals into results. Take that step right now and share it with someone you trust. Make the commitment public, because accountability fuels follow-through. If this message struck a chord, act before the feeling fades. Change one routine today. Track the impact, and watch your true capacity rise to meet your courage. Your next chapter starts with a single deliberate shift. Make it, own it, and keep moving forward. Number 3, choose growth pain over safe numb routine right now. Pick the pain of growth today. Because easy comfort will not make tomorrow better. Pain is clear. Comfort is sneaky. Pain tells you right away that something important is happening. Your heart beats faster, your stomach tightens, your skin feels hot. Comfort, in contrast, feels soft and calm while it quietly limits what you learn and who you can become. If you rely on comfort too often, years pass and you look back and wonder why your skills, income, and influence barely moved. The choice between growth pain and safe numb routine shows up every single day, and most people act as if they do not see it. I want you to see it right now. Think about the last time you avoided a hard conversation. You felt tension in your chest, so you postponed it. That brief relief cost you respect at work and closeness at home. Or remember the project you dreamed up months ago. You opened a blank page, felt confused, and closed the file. Relief again. Yet nothing was created. Those small decisions add up and slowly freeze progress. When you refuse the pain of growth, you accept the pain of regret. Regret comes later, but it lasts longer and it does not teach you anything new. Growth pain is different. It stings, but it gives you feedback. The first chilly breath of a 5 run shocks your lungs, yet proves your body can wake before dawn. Your pulse after 10 push-ups tells you how much stronger you need to become, and how quickly the body adapts. When you speak on camera for the first time, your voice may wobble, but you learn more from those 2 shaky minutes than from a month of silent planning. Growth pain is precise. It shows you the next adjustment. Safe numb routine is vague. It hides your weaknesses and keeps your strengths underused. Listen to Elena's story. She worked at a customer service desk for 6 years. The job was stable, but every evening she felt empty and restless. One Saturday, she walked by a community center where local chefs offered a low-cost cooking class. She loved cooking at home, yet the idea of sharing dishes with strangers made her anxious. Her first thought was to keep walking. Instead, she signed up. The sharp smell of onions sliced beside seasoned professionals made her eyes water. Her hands shook while cutting herb. After 2 hours, she carried home a dish that tasted better than anything she had cooked before. That single painful Saturday sparked a chain of risk. She enrolled in a food safety course, volunteered at events, then launched a weekend catering service. 3 years later, she left the desk job and now mentors teens in culinary arts. Each milestone arose because she chose short bursts of discomfort over long stretches of dull routine. Your brain supports this path. When you tackle a fresh challenge, the body releases norepinephrine, which sharpens focus and dopamine, which rewards progress. These chemicals push you to repeat demanding tasks. Scientists call this neuroplasticity. But you do not need the term. You need the practice. Repetition of hard tasks builds stronger neural links, much like lifting heavier weight, tears, and rebuilds muscle fibers into thicker tissue. The lesson is simple. Repeated strain followed by rest equals growth. Repeated ease equals stagnation. Now test yourself with 4 direct actions. First, list one skill you avoid because it feels awkward. Maybe it is video editing, public speaking, or selling. Second, set a tiny yet specific challenge for that skill. Record a 2-minute clip, speak first in the next meeting, or offer one product to a friend. Third, schedule the task within 24 hours. Delay feeds fear, fast action weakens it. Fourth, celebrate effort, not outcome, by writing a note about what you learned the moment you finish. These 4 steps convert growth pain into a daily habit instead of a rare push. Expect physical signs while you practice. Your hands may sweat, your breathing may change, your voice may crack. Notice each signal without judging it. These sensations mean your nervous system is alive and learning. Do not wait for them to disappear. Mastery arrives because you keep acting while they are present. Over time, the signals soften, and you move to a harder level where they rise again. This cycle never ends, and that is good news. It means your potential has no final ceiling. Safe numb routine promises stability. Yet look closer, and you will see hidden losses. Your network shrinks because you meet the same people. Your creativity dulls because you see the same scenes. Your earning power stalls because you solve the same problems. You may feel calm today, but the market, the world, and your own body keep changing. When outside change outruns inside growth, stress spikes and options shrink. Choosing routine is not truly safe. It is only familiar. Growth pain, in contrast, equips you to match and even shape change. Parents, partners, and colleagues also feel the impact. When you show courage, you give others silent permission to try. A teenager watching you learn a new language at 40 understands that learning never ends. A coworker who hears you admit you are nervous before pitching a client sees that fear is normal and movable. You influence more people than you know simply by demonstrating that pain can serve progress. People often ask me, how do I know whether a pain is worth it? Here is a simple rule. If the pain teaches you a new skill, builds resilience, or moves you toward a clear aim, it is growth pain. If the pain keeps you stuck or diminishes your health without benefit, step back. Falling down during a marathon you train for is growth pain. Stay in an abusive environment is not. Use reason, not ego, to draw that line. Let us bring this to the present moment. What is one dull routine you will challenge within the next hour? Maybe you will draft the first page of your business idea instead of scrolling. Maybe you will call a mentor instead of watching another review video. Maybe you will jog around the block rather than sitting during lunch. Decide now. Say it out loud so the idea leaves your head and enters the real world. Write it in the comments below to lock the promise with public eyes. Small action breaks numbness faster than large theory. Close your eyes for 5 seconds and picture 2 possible futures. In the first, you keep every safe habit you have today. Visualize the days, the rooms, the faces, and the feelings. Notice the weight of sameness. In the second, you accept daily growth pain. See yourself learning, presenting, earning, traveling, helping. Feel the energy of constant improvement. Which picture makes your chest rise with hope? Hold that picture. Use it as fuel when the next hard task invites you. I will leave you with this call. Choose growth pain right now. Not tomorrow morning, not next Monday, not after the holidays, right now. Turn the video off only after you commit to one uncomfortable move, and write it down. The faster you act, the faster you prove to yourself that pain is a tool, not a threat. It will hurt, yes, but it will also guide, shape, and lift you. Safe numb routine keeps you still. Growth pain moves you toward the person you were always meant to be. Decide, move, and let your next small victory begin this very minute. Number 4, break limiting stories that keep your dreams small. Stop believing every doubtful thought that moves through your head, because those thoughts are not the whole truth. Every person carries private stories that explain why big goals feel out of reach. Some of those stories began in childhood, when a teacher graded you low and you quietly decided you were not smart. Others came later when a friend laughed at a plan you shared and you decided you were foolish to dream. Over the years, those early judgments grew into full explanations. I am not a leader. I am too old. I never have luck. People like me never succeed. They feel like facts, yet they are only sentences you have heard so often that they now sound like reality. Notice what those sentences do inside you. They tighten your shoulders, slow your steps, and lower your voice when you present ideas. They make your stomach feel tense each time a new opportunity arrives. They persuade you to sit in the back row and applaud others while ignoring your own drive. That silent agreement to stay small is the main reason many people never test their full capacity. Your mind is powerful and honest, yet it follows what you feed it. When you repeat limiting stories, the mind gathers new proof to keep them alive. If you say, "I am not a speaker," you will avoid speaking, gather no skill, and later point to the lack of skill as proof that your story was right. This loop is strong, but it is not final. A story can be edited the same way a writer improves a rough draft. The rewrite begins the moment you decide the old version cost you too much. Consider Jasmine. At 27, she worked in a small office, handling data entry. She loved design, but told herself she lacked creativity because she never studied art. One evening, she watched an online workshop and felt excitement rise, then felt the usual sentence rush in. "You are not creative." She paused, wrote that exact line on a sheet of paper, and read it aloud. Hearing it outside her head made it sound flimsy. She listed facts against it. She arranged family gatherings with inventive themes. She mixed colors well when decorating her apartment. She solved problems at work with diagrams no one else drew. Within a month, she bought basic design software and practiced at night. 10 months later, she presented a new brand proposal to her manager, who moved her to the marketing team. 2 years later, she ran her own freelance studio. None of that happened because talent appeared overnight. It happened because she interrupted and replaced one sentence. You can do the same in 4 deliberate steps. First, detect the story. Pay close attention to the words that surface when you picture a larger dream. Write each sentence exactly as it sounds. Seeing it in black and white stops it from hiding in vague feeling. Second, challenge the story with facts. List times you acted in a way that contradicts it, however small. If the story says you are not disciplined, note each morning you woke early or finished a workout. Real facts weaken false cert. Third, state a new sentence that matches the facts and points forward. Replace "I am not disciplined" with "I can build discipline through daily choices." Keep the wording simple and believable so your mind does not reject it. Fourth, rehearse the new sentence by speaking it aloud while you act. Say it during the first 10 minutes at the gym, while revising your resume, or before calling a potential client. The brain accepts repeated statements tied to physical action faster than statements alone. Language shapes focus, but action cements belief. If you tell yourself you are brave and then avoid risk, the old story returns stronger. If you tell yourself you can learn and then spend an hour each evening practicing, the new story gains ground. Track progress in a notebook so you can see growth in numbers. Minutes studied, pages written, calls made. Evidence turns a hopeful phrase into a trusted description. Surroundings matter as well. Spend time with people who speak about effort, goals, and improvement rather than complaints and blame. Conversation enters memory the same way self-talk does. Choose podcasts, books, and groups that remind you that change is normal and success is teachable. When you hear supportive language from many sources, replacing old stories feels less lonely. You may worry that changing your story feels dishonest, as if you are pretending. The opposite is true. The limiting version is the dishonest one, because it ignores possibilities your past actions already hinted. You are not fabricating a fantasy. You are choosing which side of the evidence deserves your attention. Expect resistance from inside. The human brain prefers familiar patterns because they use less energy. When you install a new sentence, your mind will test you with doubts. Who do you think you are? Answer calmly with one small action that proves you are serious. Doubt fades when proof appears. Imagine waking tomorrow with no limiting story muttering in the background. You would start tasks faster, ask clearer questions, and accept bigger challenges. That future is available, yet it demands that you stop defending the old tale. You will feel a mix of excitement and nervousness as the new sentence takes hold. That mixture is normal. It signals that growth is underway. Parents, partners, friends, and coworkers will notice the shift. Some will cheer you on. Others may feel uneasy because your change reminds them of their own stories. Stay kind yet firm. Your progress is not a judgment on anyone else. It is an invitation for them to examine their own sentences. Leadership often starts as a personal rewrite that later becomes a living example. Now bring this to the present moment. Choose one dream you have set aside because of a limiting story. Maybe you want to launch an online store, learn a language, or enter a new industry. Identify the sentence that blocks it. Write it down. Challenge it with facts. Craft a new line and take one concrete step within the next hour. Do not aim for spectacular. Upload one product photo, memorize 10 new words, or read one job description and highlight required skills. Small moves beat large intentions that stay in your head. Feel your pulse as you act. Notice how energy rises even if fear whispers. That energy is your mind recognizing alignment between thought and movement. Capture that feeling in words so you can recall it when doubt returns. Each return to purposeful action shortens the doubt phase. You may fail at parts of the process. A design may look clumsy. A presentation may stumble. A sales call may end without a yes. Record what happened, adjust, and try again. Failures do not restart the old story unless you decide they prove it. They are simply data. Use them. In time, you will carry new sentences that sound natural. I learn quickly. I connect with others. I lead projects. Those sentences will steer your choices without effort, just as the old ones once did. The main difference is that these choices will stretch your capacity rather than shrink it. Break the limiting stories today. Do not wait for perfect timing or extra confidence. The act of challenging and replacing them is the fastest path to the confidence you seek. Speak the new sentence. Move your hands and let results confirm what you already suspect. That your dreams were never too big. Only the stories were too small. Write your new sentence below, share the first action you will take, and return tomorrow to report progress. Your transformation starts the moment your pen touches the page. Number 5, dare to invest time, money, energy in uncertain vision. Start listening because your most daring idea is asking whether you will bet real resources on it or let it fade with the months ahead. A vision that carries no risk is only a wish. It sounds pleasant in conversation. It looks neat on a goal sheet. Yet it changes nothing in the world. The vision that can change your world feels open-ended. You do not see the exact steps. You do not own every skill. And the numbers on paper leave gaps you cannot yet fill. That gap is the place where time, money, and energy must enter. Many people treat that gap like a warning sign and turn back. Invite you to treat it like an invitation and move forward before certainty arrives. You already invest each day. The question is where. You trade hours for wages. You trade attention for amusement. You trade savings for comfort. Every choice is an investment that either builds the future you want or delays it. When you admit this truth, you see that not investing in your own vision is also a decision. One that grows someone else's dream while keeping your own waiting at the door. Think about the last week. Count the hours spent scrolling past short videos that left no skill behind. Add the cost of routine purchases you barely remembered. Notice the fatigue from decisions that had nothing to do with your deepest aim. Those resources are not lost forever, but their return to you is zero. Now imagine redirecting even half of that same input into a project that fires your heart. 3 nights of study could refine a product idea. The cost of a weekend trip you will soon forget could fund a set of tools. A short course or seed marketing. The energy used to worry about other people's approval could fuel the first phone calls to potential partners. The resources exist. They wait for a directive from you. You may ask, what if I invest and it does not work? That is a valid concern. Here is a clear answer. If you invest and the plan fails, you still walk away with lessons, contacts, and proof of action. Those assets shorten the path on your next try. If you never invest, you walk away with nothing but a question that will follow you for years. Choose the result that adds value, even when the first outcome is not profit. Let me share Daniel's choice. He held a secure position in a logistics company. At 31, he dreamt of creating a mobile repair service for electric bikes in crowded cities. Market research looked promising, but gaps remained. He feared losing savings. After 3 months of hesitation, he mapped his actual spending and saw that a large share of money went into casual dining and streaming bundles he rarely used. He cut those costs, freeing enough capital for basic equipment. He used weekends to train with a local mechanic, trading labor for knowledge. After 6 months, he launched a pilot program on a single route. Clients grew through word of mouth, and revenue overtook his salary in 14 months. Even if the pilot had failed, Daniel would have gained technical skill, client lists, and data on urban mobility, assets he could use in the next venture. The win began with a decision to convert everyday spending into strategic spending. Time demands similar courage. Many people claim they have none to spare, yet they carry phones that reveal an average of 4 to 6 hours of screen use daily. Reclaiming half of that time equals 2 extra workdays every week. Channel those recovered hours into planning, practicing, and connect. Mark them on a calendar like paid appointments with your own future. Because that is exactly what they are. Energy is the third pillar, and it is often wasted through worry. Mental rehearsal of negative outcomes drains the same fuel you need for action. Switch the habit. When the brain starts listing what might go wrong, ask what resources you can gain no matter the result. Train that question until it becomes automatic. Energy that once fed anxiety now feeds strategy. You may hear friends warn you against risk. They see the risk of action, rarely the risk of inaction. Show them numbers. Count the raise you might miss by staying unskilled, the market shift that could render your job obsolete, the cost of living that rises while wages stay flat. Stability without growth is not stable. It simply hides the danger until later. Once you see that truth, daring to invest in uncertainty looks logical, almost urgent. Structure your investment with clear thresholds. Decide the amount of money you can place without harming soul needs. Decide the weekly hours you will guard no matter what. Decide the sleep and exercise habits that keep energy steady. Write each commitment and sign it. A signed promise to yourself replaces vague hope with visible responsibility. Post it where you work so the eyes meet it daily. Let that simple sheet of paper become a silent coach. Break your vision into phases. Phase 1 gathers knowledge and tests assumptions with small trials. Phase 2 refines offerings based on real feedback. Phase 3 scales through partnerships and systems. Allocate resources according to phase, not guesswork. When an early test shows promise, feed it more. When a path shows weak response, redirect quickly. Flexibility is not lack of commitment. It is smart allocation of finite resources. Track every input and output. Use a simple spreadsheet. Record hours, money, energy level, and results. Data will calm your mind on hard days because it shows movement. It will also flag waste so you can pivot early. Emotional memory often exaggerates failure. Numbers tell the sober story. Celebrate small milestones with intention, not excess. A first sale might deserve dinner out, not a week-long vacation. The point of a milestone is to refresh spirit without draining the fund that drives the next step. Discipline and celebration is part of investment. It signals that the mission outranks momentary comfort. Expect fierce spikes when you transfer funds, announce plans, or sign contracts. Feel the quickened pulse and dry mouth. Instead of resisting, label them. This is the body confirming that I care. The sensations will pass if you stay focused on the process. Fear feels permanent but acts temporary when met with movement. Support matters. Seek people who run similar races. Online forums, meetups, local mastermind groups all offer feedback and moral lift. Share progress, ask questions, offer help. Collaboration expands resources at minimal cost. Isolation does the opposite. It magnifies doubt. Prepare for opinion from bystanders who invest nothing yet judge everything. Their words cost them nothing, so weigh them lightly. Advice from someone who has never built what you aim to build is speculation. Advice from someone who has done it is data. Use data, ignore speculation. Review your plan every quarter. Keep what works, cut what drags. Add fresh tactics. Static plans die in moving markets. Treat review like maintenance on a vehicle that carries your future. A short pause to adjust saves long hours of repair later. Visualize end impact. Users whose lives improve. Children watching a parent grow bolder. Communities gaining choice. Impact feeds endurance better than income alone. Money is vital, yet meaning sustains the long hours before profit appears. Write a short statement of impact and read it when motivation dips. Now comes the decision. Today, you can keep your resources in routines that change nothing. Or you can place them on an idea that excites and scares you in equal measure. One path feels safe, and costs growth. The other feels unsure and multiplies what you learn, earn, and give. Pick the second path and step into it while the desire is hot. Comment below with the first dollar, the first hour, or the first unit of energy you will move toward your uncertain vision tonight. I will be here cheering for each proof of action you share, because daring choices build the life stories worth telling. Number 6 question, crowd opinions and trust your own judgment more. If you keep waiting for everyone to agree with your dream, you will bury it before it even has a chance to live. Most people grow up believing that the majority is usually right. At school, the right answer was the one most people agreed with. At work, the safest path was the one that followed company rules. In family settings, going against tradition felt disrespectful. So over time, you stop asking yourself what you really think. You wait. You wait for signs. You wait for permission. You wait for applause. You wait for someone else to tell you, yes, that's a good idea. But that wait steals the most valuable thing you have, your own judgment. Every time you ask the crowd what you should do, you hand them control of your future. You let people who don't share your purpose shape your next step. And most of the time, they won't understand your dream. Not because it's not valid, but because they've never lived inside your mind, your memories, your values, or your pain. You ask a group that never carried your burden to guide you toward your vision. That's not wisdom. It's hesitation wearing a polite face. Let me tell you the truth that stings a little. The crowd is often afraid, not of you, but of their own unrealized goal. When you speak about breaking out of routine, chasing something different, or starting from scratch, people hear echoes of their own decisions to play it safe. So instead of encouraging your leap, they hand you their fears, and if you aren't alert, you take those fears as fact. That's how judgment weakens. It doesn't happen all at once. It fades slowly under the weight of too many borrowed doubts. But you are not here to blend in. You are not here to wait for 100 opinions before you move. You are here to live one rare life. And the only way you honor that gift is by learning to hear your own voice above the noise. Start by going back to a moment when your gut told you something, but you didn't act on it because the group said otherwise. Maybe you wanted to move cities, but everyone said it was too risky. Maybe you wanted to start something creative, but someone laughed and told you to get serious. Maybe you were ready to leave a toxic job, but the crowd told you to be grateful you even had one. So you stayed, you nodded, you followed. And inside, a quiet part of you started to shrink. That voice inside you is not weak, it's just unused. And like any muscle, the less you use it, the harder it becomes to trust. But here's the good news. It only takes a few reps to wake it up. Judgment is built through action. Every time you make a decision based on what you know, what you feel, and what you value, that inner voice gets louder. It says, I'm still here. I remember who you are. I know what you want. You don't need to be arrogant to trust yourself. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to be perfect. You only need to be honest. Honest about what matters to you. Honest about what gives you energy. Honest about what you are no longer willing to pretend you enjoy. Take Liana, for example. She spent years working in a corporate law firm. Great pay. Good title. Everyone around her praised her career. Her parents told their friends how proud they were. She should have felt fulfilled. But she felt none. Her dream was to teach, to write, to create a classroom where young minds could grow. But that didn't match the crowd's expectations. When she finally stepped away from law and into education, she was met with silence, confusion, even disapproval. But 1 year later, she wakes up energized. Her eyes light up when she speaks, and that's what happens when you choose your voice over the crowd. You come back to life. This isn't about rebellion. It's not about being different just to stand out. It's about being accurate, about aligning your actions with your actual values. The world doesn't need more copies. It needs more people who know who they are and live like it. So here's how you start. First, stop outsourcing your big decisions. You can ask for advice, but advice should be input, not a verdict. Make the final call yourself. Second, take time every week to reflect on how you feel about your choices. Are they yours, or are they reactions to what others expect? Third, practice small acts of independence. Wear what you want, even if it's not the trend. Say what you really mean in one conversation each day. The more you practice being you, the easier it gets. Also, realize that crowd thinking is a defense mechanism. It protects people from responsibility. If everyone agrees and things go wrong, no one has to take the blame. That's why so many people follow the group. It feels safer, but safety without truth is a trap, and you were not built to live trapped. Now some will say, what if I'm wrong? Good, that's how you grow. You learn more by making one honest mistake than by following 20 opinions and staying still. Your judgment sharpens through feedback. You'll adjust, you'll evolve, but you'll do it on your path, not someone else's. When you choose to trust yourself, you take ownership. You stop waiting for the crowd to cheer. You stop flinching at every opinion. You become sound. And that stability will shake the world around you. Because most people have never seen it before. Here's the bottom line. If you keep waiting for everyone else to believe in your idea, you'll die with it still inside you. So make the decision. Quiet the noise. Write down what you want. Make the move. Launch the project. Submit the application. Leave the place that drains you. Speak the truth you've been holding. Not because it's guaranteed to work, but because it's yours. No one knows your calling better than you. No algorithm, no critic, no stranger on the internet. That power lives inside you right now, waiting for you to stop handing it away. So reclaim it. Move with it, and watch how fast your life starts making sense. In the comments, write one decision you've been putting off because you were waiting for approval. Then write what your judgment said. Act on it this week, not someday. This week, because your judgment is not broken. It's just been drowned out. Turn the volume up. Take the step and become the kind of person the world quietly wishes they had the courage to be. Number 7, act despite shaking hands and racing heartbeat. Feel alive. The moment your hands tremble and your heart pounds is not a warning to stop. It is a signal that you're about to do something real. Every single person who ever achieved anything bold has felt exactly what you're feeling. Nervous, palms, shallow breath, tight chest, voice unsure. The biggest lie is that confidence comes before the action. It doesn't. It comes after. You act first, then it grows. But most people never get there. They wait to feel calm, to feel ready, to feel perfect, and that wait turns into months, then years, then a lifetime of wondering what could have been. I want you to understand something deeply right now. Fear is not the problem. Avoidance, because the truth is, fear is part of anything worthwhile. Fear only shows up when you care about what's ahead. You fear public speaking because your message matters. You fear starting the business because you want it to succeed. You fear telling the truth because honesty has weight. Fear is proof that the moment means something. So stop using it as a reason to run. Use it as a reason to rise. You will feel the symptoms. That's normal. Your throat tightens before the pitch. Your legs shake before stepping on the stage. Your stomach flips before hitting publish. That's not weakness. That's not failure. That is a human body stepping into growth. And the only way to train that body is to move through the moment, not around it. Think about a time you wanted to speak but didn't. You had the words, they were right there. Your hands started to sweat. Your mind filled with what ifs. What if I mess up? What if I look foolish? What if they laugh? So you stayed quiet. Later the regret came. That quiet kind of regret, the one that lingers. That's the real pain, not the nerves, but the silence that follows when you choose fear over action. Now think of a time you acted anyway. You didn't feel ready, but you spoke. You stepped forward. You said yes. Remember the heat in your chest, the pulse in your ears, and then remember the moment right after. That rush, that breath, that surge of being alive. That's what you're chasing. Not the applause, not perfection. That feeling of doing what you thought you couldn't do. That's where your real power lives. You don't need to be fearless. You need to move while afraid. Fear sharpens you. It makes your senses come alive. It pushes your body into a higher gear. It wakes you up. So use that fuel. Don't waste it trying to calm down. Channel it. Turn it into forward motion. Nina had always dreamed of launching a wellness class in her small town. She studied, she prepared, she waited. Each time she came close, she stopped. Her voice would shake just thinking about speaking in front of people. Then one day she made a promise. She would feel the fear and act through it. She booked a tiny space. 5 people came. Her hands shook. During the intro, she lost her train of thought, but she finished. At the end, a woman hugged her and said, "I needed that." Nina cried in the car, not because she was embarrassed, but because she finally showed up. A year later, her class has a wait list. The fear didn't disappear. It just stopped deciding for her. You're going to feel fear when you try something new. You're going to feel resistance when you step outside what you know. That's biology. That's wiring. But you're also going to feel something else: pride, energy, relief, a deeper kind of confidence. And that only comes when you act. Start where you are. Speak while your voice is unsure. Move while your knees shake. Launch even if your plan isn't perfect. The goal is not to avoid the discomfort. It's to expand what you can hold. Every time you move forward in the middle of fear, your threshold rises. You can carry more next time. Practice small exposures. Send the email you've been rewriting. Apply to the job even if you don't check every box. Ask the question in the meeting. Post the video. Each time you feel your heart race and still act, you build a new layer of courage. Not fake confidence. Earned courage. Stop waiting to feel brave. Bravery is a choice you make in the presence of fear. And here's the truth you need to hear. The more you avoid what scares you, the more power it gains. But the more you face it, the smaller it becomes. Eventually, what once paralyzed you becomes your new normal. Fear never fully leaves. It just moves into the passenger seat while you draw it. That's how you grow. That's how you build resilience. That's how you create a life you respect. Not by playing it safe, not by sitting it out, but by showing up when it's hard, when it's messy, when it's uncomfortable, and doing it anyway. You'll feel your pulse rise. That's your body preparing for something important. You'll breathe faster. That's okay. Your brain is catching up. Don't wait to calm down. Breathe and act at the same time. Calm will come afterward. Peace is the reward, not the requirement. Look at the people you admire. Do you think they felt nothing when they started? No. They felt everything. But they did it anyway. And that anyway is where transformation begins. They weren't superhuman. They were just willing to be uncomfortable for long enough to grow. You've got something inside you that deserves to be expressed. A gift, a truth, a vision. It doesn't need approval. It needs your commitment. So give it. Give it despite the nerves, despite the fear, despite the doubt. Because if you wait until you feel strong, you may never move. But if you move, you will feel strong. The fastest way to build the life you want is to stop waiting for the fear to leave and start moving with it. Beside you, write down the thing you've been putting off, the step you keep avoiding. Now commit to doing it within 24 hours. Speak it aloud. Feel the nervous buzz. Act anyway. The moment your voice shakes and your hands tremble is not weakness. It's birth. It's growth. It's movement. And movement is the beginning of everything. Now take a breath. Feel your body. Feel the fear. And then take the step. That step will change you. That step will wake you up. That step will make you feel alive. Comment below with the one action you're going to take today, even if it scares you. This is how you train your courage. This is how you get your power back. Act despite shaking hands and racing heartbeat. Because this is what alive feels like. Number 8, step past failures and collect lessons with pride. Your past mistakes do not define you. They prepare you for the wins still ahead. Failure hurts in the body first. Cheeks warm, stomach tight, shoulders heavy. The mind follows with heavy thoughts. I was not good enough. I wasted my chance. People saw me fall. That cocktail of sensations convinces many to hide, to shrink, to keep the next idea quiet. Yet failure is neutral until you label it. It can be a tombstone, or it can be raw material for growth. The label you choose decides which future you will live. Remember a time you tried something important and missed the mark. Watch that memory in detail. The room, the faces, the sound that marked the moment you knew it went wrong. Let the scene run to the end. Now pause it. Notice you are still here. You kept breathing. You kept moving. You kept waking up each day. That means the event that felt like the end was really an event you survived. Survival proves you are stronger than your worst day. From that position of strength, you can collect what the moment left behind. Facts, skills, contacts, insights, and use them like bricks for your next plan. Take Aaron's story. He opened a small cafe at 20. The concept looked charming on paper, But foot traffic stayed low and bills stacked high. 18 months later, he shut the doors with debt and embarrassment. For weeks, he replayed the last day of service. The empty chairs, the silence after he locked up. One evening, he pulled out the sales ledger. Not to torture himself, but to study patterns. He saw that weekend brunches sold out, while weekdays stayed empty. He saw which pastries moved, which suppliers overcharged, which social media posts sparked interest. Those numbers became a personal masterclass in consumer flow, menu design, and micro-marketing. 2 years later, he joined a food truck collective that served only weekend events. He paid off the cafe debt within 10 months. The truck thrives because he mined every lesson from what looked like pure loss. The cafe failed. The owner grew. You can do the same deliberate mining. First, write the failure in one plain sentence. I launched an online store and sold only 8 items in 6 months. Plain language removes drama and leaves room for analysis. Second, list every factor you controlled. Marketing copy, product photos, shipping speed, budget allocation, time spent learning ads. Third, list external factors you influenced less. Market timing, supplier issues, global event. Fourth, note where the lines blurred. Maybe shipping speed felt external, but you could have picked another carrier. That clarity stops blame from spreading across your entire identity and pins it to choices you can improve. Next comes extraction. Ask of each factor, what data did this create? Weak ad click-through rates show you which words fail to connect. Slow delivery times teach you how tolerance for delays affects reviews. Poor supplier communication reveals the cost of unclear contracts. Capture these pieces in a lessons library, a document you update after every attempt. Over time, the library becomes a personal playbook, richer than any textbook because it carries your context, your style, your real numbers. Emotion must also be processed. Shame clings unless you air it out. Speak the story aloud to a trusted friend, or record a voice note for yourself. Hearing it breaks the loop of silent replay. Instead of saying, I'm a failure, speak accurately. One strategy failed, and I learned X. Precision language shrinks pain and grows accountability. Add pride by writing 3 strengths you showed even while failing. Maybe you kept promises to customers. Maybe you worked long nights. Maybe you stayed polite under stress. Acknowledging effort builds identity capital, and identity capital fuels bold attempts. Keep perspective with math. Imagine a baseball player aiming for a .300 batting average. That means success 3 out of every 10 swings. 7 swings end without a hit. Yet the player remains valuable in entrepreneurship, in relationships, in creative work. Acceptable ratios vary, but no field offers perfection. When you set realistic ranges, say 1 solid win for every 3 tries, you free yourself to take shots without each miss as confirmation of inadequacy. Environment matters. Spend time with people who treat failure as data, not disaster. Mastermind groups, startup meetups, or writing circles often start sessions with quick what didn't work shares. The tone is light, solution-oriented, non-mocking. Exposure to that culture rewires your instinctive response from hiding to sharing. You realize everyone is iterating. You stop viewing your missteps as exceptions and start viewing them as standard steps. Physical ritual helps close emotional loops. After a failed pitch or rejected manuscript, do a reset routine. Walk 10 minutes. Stretch shoulders. Sip water. Breathe slow for 60 seconds. Tell your nervous system, event ended. Danger past. A settled body lets the mind shift to analysis instead of rumination. Now convert lessons into the next plan. Choose one insight, however small, and apply it within 48 hours. If you learned your email openings felt generic, rewrite and send a new batch. Quick application cements theory into habit and proves to your subconscious that failure leads somewhere useful, not just painful. Take Marisol. She ran for local office and finished last. Instead of disappearing, she called volunteers one by one to thank them. Each call ended with a question. What did you see on the ground that I missed? Comments revealed she lacked presence in the largest neighborhood park on weekends. 2 years later, she crafted a community fitness program in that very park, earned goodwill, and won a council seat. Voters joked they saw her every Saturday since forever. Losing once built trust that delivered victory. Document wins born from past losses. Keep a timeline. Date of failure. Lesson extracted. New action. Result gained. Reading that chain acts like rocket fuel on doubting days. It reminds you that what feels like ending points are often hidden launch pads. Pride is key. Not arrogant pride, but dignified recognition of resilience. Every scar means you showed up. In sports, seasoned athletes display bruises with a grin. It proves they played full tilt. You can view career or personal bruises the same way. Post a symbol on your wall, a canceled check, a photo of an empty venue, a rejection email. Not as mockery, but as evidence of momentum. Visitors may ask, why keep that? Answer, it shows the price I'm willing to pay for progress. Beware the trap of rewriting history as total disaster. Memory exaggerates failures over time. Counter with records. Keep analytics, journals, bank statements. Let data speak. Often you will see the dip was smaller than the story you tell yourself. Numbers ground emotion. Teach what you learn. Post a small webinar. Write a blog post. Mentor a junior colleague. Explaining lessons forces clarity and multiplies impact. You turn private pain into public value, and that act converts embarrassment into contribution. Set a failure quota for the year. Perhaps 6 bold attempts that could flop. Log them as you go. When you meet the quota early, raise it. The practice reframes failure as a metric of activity, not of work. At review time, celebrate meeting the quota because it proves you operated near the edge of your current skill. Integrate rest. Pushing through without pause risks burnout and sloppy repeat error. After a heavy loss, schedule a recovery window. Good sleep, light exercise, simple food, limited screen time. Rest is not escape. It is maintenance of the machine that will try again. Now turn to yourself. Pick one recent stumble you still replay. Write the plain sentence. List controllable factors. Pull out at least 2 lessons. And schedule a small action using 1 lesson within 2 days. Speak aloud 1 sentence of pride for surviving and extracting knowledge. Feel your posture straighten. That physical shift is pride entering the body. Comment below with the lesson you will apply and the action you will take. Reading each other's entries will build a library of shared wisdom far richer than any single victory story. Refuse to let failures sit as dead weight. Step past them, gather their lessons, and walk taller knowing you earned every insight through lived experience. Your next success will stand on that foundation, and you will carry the pride of having turned every fall into forward motion. Number 9, commit to daily small risks and grow courage. The smallest step taken every single day can build a mountain of courage that changes your life forever. Most people think courage is something you either have or you don't. They imagine heroic acts, huge leaps, or dramatic moments. But courage is not born from a single giant move. It grows from tiny, consistent choices to risk something small every day. Even when your heart races and doubt whispers. It's these daily acts of bravery that build the muscles inside you, turning fear from a wall into a stepping stone. Look back to a time when you hesitated. Maybe it was speaking up in a meeting, trying a new recipe, or reaching out to someone you admired. Notice how the thought of failure or rejection held you back. That hesitation is normal. It's your mind protecting you. But every time you let hesitation win, you shrink your comfort zone. Your safe space gets smaller and smaller until the idea of risk feels impossible. But what if you flipped the script? What if instead of avoiding small risks, you committed to taking one every day? It doesn't have to be dramatic. It could be starting a conversation with a stranger, asking for feedback, pitching an idea, or simply trying a new route to work. These small moments might seem insignificant on their own, but over time, they accumulate. They teach your brain that uncertainty is not the enemy. It becomes the familiar. Your body learns that fear signals growth, not danger. Take the story of Carlos, a man who once dreaded social gatherings. For years, he stayed silent, blending into the background at work events and family dinners. One day, he made a promise to himself. Every day, he would say hello to at least one new person or share a story with a colleague. At first, his voice shook and his palms sweated. But after weeks, those conversations became easier. His confidence grew, and he noticed people responding positive. Carlos's small daily risks rewired his nervous system. He went from silent observer to confident connector in less than 6 months. This is how courage works. It's a process, not a single event, and it is available to anyone willing to start small. The key is commitment. Showing up each day with a willingness to face discomfort and move anyway. That commitment creates momentum, and momentum builds unstoppable energy. Don't expect perfection. Some days you will stumble. You might say the wrong thing or back away from the risk. That's normal. Courage isn't about never failing. It's about not letting failure stop you. It's about continuing to show up, even when you feel scared or unsure. Each attempt, successful or not, is a victory, because you are teaching yourself to trust your ability to handle uncertainty. Create a daily risk routine. Start by identifying small risks that stretch you but feel manageable. Write them down. Commit to doing at least one each day. Keep a journal to track what you tried, what you felt, and what you learned. That journal becomes proof of your growth, a visual reminder that every day you chose courage over comfort. Remember that risk is not reckless. It's calculated and intentional. Taking small risks allows you to learn about yourself and your limits without overwhelming pressure. It's a practice field for bigger decisions. The more you risk in little ways, the more ready you are to take on major challenges. Let go of the all or nothing mindset. Waiting for the perfect moment or full confidence often leads to paralysis. Instead, choose progress over perfection. Show up imperfectly, but consistently. The person who takes imperfect action daily will outpace the one who waits for ideal conditions every time. Think about the impact of small risks on your relationships, career, and creativity. Asking a question when you usually stay quiet could unlock new opportunities. Sharing your idea might inspire collaboration. Trying a new hobby can awaken forgotten passion. These tiny shifts create a ripple effect, changing how you see yourself and how others see you. Fear will not disappear. It will still visit your mind like a stubborn neighbor. But each time you say yes to risk, you build immunity. That fear loses power. It becomes a signal that you're growing. Instead of shrinking back, you lean in, breathe through the discomfort, and keep going. Celebrate the small wins. Every time you push past fear, your brain rewards you with dopamine, a natural high that encourages repetition. Harness that reward. Recognize the feeling of accomplishment and use it to fuel your next risk. Surround yourself with people who support your growth. Share your daily risk goals with a friend or mentor who will hold you accountable. Find a community where taking risks is encouraged and failure is seen as a step forward. That support system makes the journey less lonely and more motivating. Make a promise right now. You will take one small risk today and every day after that. It could be as simple as speaking your truth to a loved one, trying a new exercise, or pitching a new idea at work. Whatever it is, commit fully. Don't debate or delay. Do it. Track your progress openly. Share your wins and setbacks with this community or a trusted friend. Accountability turns private efforts into public momentum. It also makes your courage contagious, inspiring others to join you. Visualize yourself 6 months from now. Imagine how your confidence has grown, how your fear has lessened, how your daily risks have shaped you into someone who doesn't wait for life to happen, but creates it boldly. That future is possible. It starts with one choice today. This is the secret most people miss. Courage is not a trait reserved for heroes. It is a skill you practice every day. You don't need to be fearless. You need to be brave enough to move forward while afraid. The more you do it, the stronger you become. So begin now. Take that small risk. Feel the discomfort. Acknowledge the fear. And act anyway. Celebrate your progress. Learn from setbacks. And keep moving. Courage is yours to claim. It is built in the everyday moments where you refuse to settle for comfort and instead choose growth. Write down one small risk you will take today and commit to it. Share it with someone who will cheer you on. Then follow through before the day ends. This is how you grow courage. This is how you change your life. The only thing standing between you and the person you want to be is the courage to take that first small step. Take it now. Number 10, stand out loudly, embrace uncertainty, and write your story. The loudest voice in the room is the one willing to be seen when everyone else hides in the shadows. Life doesn't hand out scripts. The story you live, the legacy you leave, is something you write every day with bold strokes and messy drafts. The world rewards those who dare to stand out, not by blending in quietly, but by shouting their truth through action. Standing out means embracing uncertainty with open arms, because certainty is a myth that keeps people stuck. If you want to live a life that's truly yours, You must own the discomfort of not knowing what's next and make it your playground, not your prison. Look around. People follow trends, stick to safe patterns, and avoid shaking the boat. It feels easier. The brain craves certainty because it's wired to protect you. But that protection comes at a price. A smaller world, fewer chances, and muted dreams. The moment you decide to be different, you invite doubt, judgment, and risk. That's scary. Your heart races, your hands sweat, and your mind floods with what ifs. But inside that fear lies your greatest opportunity. Take Maya's story. She worked a steady job for years, wearing the same gray suits, smiling at the same dull routine. Inside, her voice wanted to roar, to write, to create. One day, she stopped waiting for permission. She quit her job and started sharing her writing online. Raw, unfiltered, and unlike anything her network expected. At first, the responses were harsh and uncertain, but she kept going, embracing the unknown with grit and honesty. Now her words reach thousands, and her life is a testament to what happens when you stand out loudly instead of fading quietly. You don't need to wait for perfect clarity to begin your story. Clarity grows from courage. When you act despite uncertainty, you unlock new parts of yourself. You test what works, what feels right, and what resonates with others. Writing your story is not about flawless chapters. It's about showing up in the mess, learning to pivot, and owning each line, whether it's triumph or setback. Every person's story matters, because no one else has your exact experience, perspective, or passion. You don't have to fit into someone else's mold or follow their script. Your uniqueness is your power. When you shout your story, you invite others who resonate, build connections that matter, and inspire change. Silence keeps stories buried and potential wasted. Loudness, real loudness, means courage, authenticity, and resilience. Uncertainty will never vanish. It's part of every choice, every new path, every fresh idea. But here's the secret. Uncertainty is not your enemy. It's the space where growth happens. When you stop resisting the unknown and start leaning into it, you discover new strengths, new paths, and new joys. You become comfortable with discomfort. That comfort fuels innovation, creativity, and leadership. Think about every major success you admire. Behind it is a person who faced unknowns with a stubborn refusal to stay silent or hidden. They stood out when the world expected them to fit in. They wrote their story without waiting for a green light or full certainty. That is not luck. It's deliberate bravery. Begin by identifying one area where you've played it safe. Maybe it's a voice you've kept quiet, a dream you've shelved, or a risk you've avoided. Choose that area and commit to showing up louder. Speak your idea. Take a step toward your passion. Share your work. You don't need an audience right now. You just need to be honest with yourself. Make uncertainty your daily companion. When fear or doubt knocks, don't shut the door. Invite them in. Thank them for showing up. And keep moving. Over time, your relationship with uncertainty changes from adversarial to collaborative. It becomes the engine of your growth, not the brake. Celebrate every moment you step into your story loudly. Post the video, send the email, write the article, stand in the spotlight. Even if it feels uncomfortable, those moments build momentum. They shape your identity. They carve a path for others to follow. Connect with people who encourage your loudness. Find communities, mentors, or friends who celebrate authenticity and risk. Their support buffers the loneliness that often comes with standing out. Together, you amplify each other's voices and courage. Keep a journal of your story's progress. Write down your actions, feelings, reactions, and lessons. This record isn't just history. It's your proof of growth and resilience. It reminds you how far you've come when doubt creeps back. Imagine yourself 5 years from now, having fully embraced uncertainty and loudly owned your story. Picture the doors that will open, the people you'll inspire, and the life you'll build. That future isn't reserved for a lucky few. It's available to anyone who chooses courage over comfort. Now take a deep breath. Feel the energy in your body. That energy is your readiness to stand out. Use it. Make a choice today to shout your story louder than your fears, to lean into the unknown rather than shrink from it, to live a life that's unapologetically yours. Write in the comments the one way you will stand out loudly. Starting today, share your intention with someone who will hold you accountable. This is your story, your voice, your moment. Claim it.